This conference will now be recorded.
This is the Capacity Development Group, and our main goal here is to grow in all areas of our lives, mentally, physically, and spiritually. We do hope that wherever you are listening to us from, you are having a good evening, you are having a pleasant evening, you are enjoying the weather, and we do believe that you are excited for this evening once more to transform your mind to hear, something that is going to transform your mind and help you become that person that God has designed you to be. All right, so that is what we are all about, and welcome. And just for a few seconds, we're going to allow for people to join in, and we're going to send reminders to our friends and people we've invited that I know you're here. So let's just go invite them, tell them that, yeah, now is the time they need to tune in just for a few minutes, 45, 50 minutes, and they are going to be done. But it promises that this 50 minutes is going to be a very life transforming 60 minutes in their lives. You need to tell them that. So let's just go do that, and we're going to be back in a couple of seconds. All right, guys, good evening to you. And once again, for those who have joined earlier on and those who are just joining right now, we want to say a warm welcome to you wherever you are listening from, every part of the world you're listening from, in London, in Nigeria, in Ukraine, in US, everywhere. We want to say a warm welcome to you and another opportunity to grow, another opportunity to stretch ourselves to the limits, another opportunity to transform our minds, another opportunity to renew our minds. And that is what we are all about. And so far, so good. If you've been following us on our previous webinars, I'm sure you are not the way you were before. I'm sure. I want to believe that there is something happening in you. I want to believe that you are making progress in your life personally, that you are taking steps, that you are making sure that you are intentionally growing. As we said when we started out in this growth series, that growth doesn't just happen. Growth is not something that happens. It is not an event. It is an intentional activity. So if you are not intentional about your growth, you are going to remain where you are in your mind, in your spirit, in your, in your intellectual faculty. You're going to remain the same pretty much. There's nothing that's going to be different about you. So growth doesn't just happen, though we have a kind of growth that happens, when you give birth to a child, it grows, they grow. Normally, just give them food. But our mind and our physical and spiritual self must be at par. As you're growing older, your mind also needs to grow. And that is what we are all about. And we do hope that you've been growing so far. And we are excited to be part of your evening once again. And just to recap on what we did last week, many of us were around last week. Many of us joined in, and our guest coach is meant to take us today, but she's on a trip, and I think she's going to be coming back today from Greece. And she has asked that we continue today, and she's going to join us next week, and that is in the person of Debbie Akikunle. And if you were around last week, she she took the second part of winning from within, which was mind revolutionary, which was, something else entirely. And I got feedback from so many people that it was really, really, really worth listening to. And like you heard, if you're there, that, the greatest investment you can ever have is in yourself. The greatest investment you make in yourself, the investment you make in yourself is the greatest investment. And that's what she said. And you can never go broke investing in yourself. So basically, we want to believe that what you are doing right now is an investment in yourself, investment in your mind. You're investing the time rather than watching TV, rather than doing something else or going to the bar or whatever you want to do. You're investing the next 15 minutes in your mind. And that investment, you can never go broke doing that investment. And that investment is the greatest investment. And she made us understand that if we want to win in life, if we want to win in life at all, we must intentionally make investments. And we cannot win in life if we're too complacent about our goals, like she said. And the number three thing that was my takeaway from last week is that you should never stop learning about new things. Always seek new challenges. And that is why we are going to engage the power of our imagination today. The process of winning, the process of the mental growth cannot be complete without talking about these wonderful gifts that God has given unto us. Only few people have been able to tap into, and those few people that were able to tap into it are the ones changing the world right now, are the ones detecting the pace at which the world is moving, are the ones that the world is following after, the one that the world is waiting for to bring out new solutions, to bring out new technologies to solve the problem that is existing. And that is because they were able to use the power of imagination given to them by God. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to commence this today's webinar. As you have seen the title, The Power of Imagination. And at the end of this webinar, you are expected to begin to take practical steps in unlocking your mind and become intentional about using your mind to imagine the life you want. Imagine things that were never existing, imagining them coming to life, personalizing them, and working towards them. So we are going to go straight to the topic today without any further ado. We believe that those who needs to join in has joined in, and if you still need to remind people, now is the time to remind them that they don't want to miss this for anything. And you're welcome, Adebimpe. Welcome, Melody. Welcome, Debbie. Welcome, Davidas. Dude, that we missed you long time. We are glad to have you back here. And welcome, Sandra. Welcome, Kizito. And more people that are also going to join in, and people are going to listen to this recording after now. We say a warm welcome to you. Now we're going to kickstart the power of imagination. It's hard to talk about imagination without discussing creativity. Without discussing creativity. After all, our imagination is the greatest faculty we possess, but not many people knows that. Not many people know that the imagination is the greatest faculty that they possess. And so that is why most people often say, I am not creative. Most people often say they are not creative. Now, if you belong to the category of people that see yourself as not being creative, I want you to stop right now. I want you to stop right now because you are a creative being. God designed you in his image, and God's image is a creative image. If you by any chance have written the greatest book ever written in the world, which is the Bible, you understand that when God created man, he created it in a man in his image, and the image of God is a creative image, is a creator. So you are automatically a creator. You are automatically, a creative being. So if you think you're not creative, you can't come up with new ideas. Stop right now. That is a big lie. Now, in fact, we create every moment of our lives. You create. What I'm doing right now started in my mind, started by imagination. I have created the next 1 hour right now in my mind that I'm going to do a webinar, that I'm going to prepare a slide, that everything I'm going to say, this is how it's going to follow. That I'm going to click this next button when I get here. I have imagined everything. So it's just so powerful how we use this how we use our mind, but we are not really aware that what we're using is the power of imagination. So we create every moment in our lives. You created your image, the image of yourself right now. You created it. Many of us who are intentional about our image. Personally, for I can't speak for many people, but I'm intentional about my image. Number one, I'm intentional about my appearance. Number one, I'm intentional about what people say about me, the perception of people. Not that I care, or I'm too worried about what people think about me. No, but I'm intentional about creating a positive image, and that image that people are going to fall in love with, a friendly image, a magnetic image, that whenever I enter into a place, I'm attracted, I have a positive energy. I created it, and so many of us create that kind of image too of ourselves. So your present job, the job you're doing right now, the what is in your bank account, your relationships, your friends, your families, and even our bodies create new cells every second, every microsecond. So the process of creation, like it's a continuous process. Like what Debbie Akinkole told us some weeks ago, last week, that creation did not end at the beginning. Creation is a continuous process. What God created in the beginning was the raw materials and the templates, and then it continues. Our body is constantly creating new cells, and so is our mind. Our mind is constantly creating new ideas. And, it's constantly in motion, in motion, in motion. And what we're going to do today is to guide us so we can unlock that power and use the power of imagination to create the life that God has designed for us to live here on earth and accomplish great goals. At the end of the day, live a very fulfilled life. And that is what we are all about. So whether you're aware of it or not, you are tapped into the energy of the creative flow of the universe. You are tapped into the creative flow of the universe. And that is it. That is it. You're tapped into the creative flow of the universe unconsciously. So it's literally flowing through you. And if you let it out, it will change your life in a phenomenal way. It's going to change your life. So, but unfortunately, well-meaning adults when we're young, those people who monitored us while we're young, who took care of us, they stopped us from diving into this power unconsciously or unknowingly to them. They didn't know, because when we're young, as a young boy, as a young child has a very imaginative mind. As a young person, one of the common traits of young people is, you call it daydreaming. They're always often absent-mindedness, often absent-minded, and when they go somewhere, they are thinking, they're imagining things. When I remember when I was young, I used to imagine the kind of house I want to live in. I used to imagine that I'm flying in a plane. I used to imagine that I'm, holding. I use the power of, my imagination to the fullest. But unfortunately, well-meaning adults, stifle our imagination and creativity when we're young. Our parents, our teachers, they might have told you not, to come back. What are you doing? Pay attention. But it's not their fault, because they don't know. They don't know. Sometimes, so many of us said it when we were young, we wanted to be a lawyer, I want to be a singer, I want to be an entrepreneur, but whatever it is we want to do. But one way or the other, our parents will used to, you need to do this, you need to study this, you know, you need to follow this path. And unknowingly to them, they stopped our creative and imaginative process. And so when you were a child, you obeyed them. We believe what they said, okay? And we learned to let our dreams go. Such a great mistake. That is a great mistake. We let our dreams go. We'll let our imaginations, go, because they then will begin to realize the difference between reality and our dreams. Begin to realize that what we are thinking, our imagination cannot happen, and that is because of what we heard from our parents, from our teachers, from our guidance. But now you know better. You can go beyond them. Now you know better that whatever you can see in your mind. When we started a series about mastering your mind, and we talked about, if you cannot see it in your mind, it cannot happen. It cannot manifest. So the creative process starts in your mind. Wherever thing you're doing, maybe you're a singer, or you want to release an album, you want to record a new song. It starts with imagination. Okay, you want to start by seeing yourself going into the studio, by seeing yourself, doing the hard work overnight, getting the inspiration to write a powerful song that is going to be, sung by millions of people all over the world, that is going to be a popular song all over the world, and seeing yourself conducting concerts, and ministering to, big crowd, large crowd. It starts from the mind. And once you can soak yourself in it enough, you begin to work towards it. Sooner or later, it is going to come to reality. It's going to manifest. So you see, we are divinely guided by our spirit. For many of you who are believers here, you understand the role of the Holy Spirit. We are spirit beings, and our minds are constantly in tune with the spirit. If you are in spirit, and that spirit is going to guide you, it makes no mistake, it's going to guide you. Sometimes you have a strong desire to express or create something. You just, I don't know about you, but most times, especially every year or last year, for example, when I wrote two books, I just had this strong desire in me that I need to do this. It came, I don't know where it came from, but I got it and I received it and I saw the end product. I was able to picture the book cover. I was able to picture the title. I was able to then begin to work on the content. And I started it from the beginning to finish, and it became a product that you can buy right now, place on your Vex, and read. But it started from my imagination. And as I'm talking to you right now, I already have another creative process going on in my mind. I already have another book that I'm already pregnant with another book. For those of you who are close to me, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Some people already know it already, they sense it already. I'm already pregnant with another book. And sooner or later, it's going to come out. And when it comes out, people are going to see it. It becomes a physical product. It becomes a physical product. So each time you have a burning desire in your mind, in your spirit, to do something, to create something, it is not a mistake. It is your spirit telling you that I need to bring out something. I need to birth something. I need to birth something. And that period of time, when you're thinking about it, when you're ruminating on it, it takes time. It might take 2 weeks. For some people, it might take 3 weeks. For some people, it might even take years. Some people, it might take months. Why some people, remarkably, it takes days. And that is going to tell you how God has designed life. It's just like pregnancy. Different animals have different gestation period. They have different periods where the baby is going to be in them and they're going to give birth. Different trees have different maturity times. Some plants in 3 months they begin to bear fruit. Some take 7 years, some 20 years. It depends. Some 5 years. Why some 5 weeks? So it depends on the weight of your idea. Some ideas are going to take months. I don't know how long I've been nursing, this new book that is in my spirit right now, but it is there. It is, it is growing up. And when the time has come, I'm going to give birth with at the right time, at the right time. And that time, when it comes, you don't stress. Just like, a pregnant woman at the ninth month, if the person doesn't deliver, people are going to be asking questions that what is happening? Maybe we need to do some checkup. It is going to come naturally. And that is what happens in our mind. So when a big idea comes to your mind, you have the choice of keeping it alive by letting your imagination flow. That is the only thing. Let your imagination flow. Let your imagination flow. Or don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss that imagination. Don't remain stuck in fear. Most times you're always scared to think about big things. Never, never be afraid to think up. In fact, think about things bigger than you. If you're in a small room, think about yourself staying in a large room. And it's not just about thinking about it, you are feeling it. Imagination is that is what makes imagination different from thinking. When you imagine something, you are feeling it, you are touching it, you are seeing yourself in that room, you are perceiving the smell, the odor of that room, you are touching the window blind, you can feel it. It's almost as if you are there. It's almost as if you're cut off from where you are, then you are in another world. So we're going to see further on. Imagination is a window mind, to the creative space of our mind in which we can have anything, say anything, and be anything. And that is how God gave us that gift for a purpose. It is not a mistake. It is not a mistake when you see yourself imagining things. It is intentional. That is how God has designed you to operate. And when you think about it, It is a signal in your spirit that you need to birth something out. But if you don't know, you won't use it. You won't use it. And so that is how to use your imagination. Bring it alive, bring those ideas alive by letting your imagination flow. I know so many people that have been on their necks that they need to release an album, they need to sing a song, they need to write a book, they need to do this. But if they have not allowed their imagination to flow in, if they have not allowed their mind, if they have not accepted the fact, seeing themselves singing that song, if they have not seen themselves ministering that song to people, or if they have not seen the CD in the hand of somebody, in their mind, it is never going to happen. It is never going to happen. The architect, before they pen down a design, they've seen something in their mind. They have a picture in their mind that I want to create this. Just like me, when I design banners or I design flyers, I'm not a graphic designer, but something that distinguishes me from other people who are non-graphic designers and can't do anything is the fact that I can imagine it. I want to see this is what I want to see. Then I try to make it happen. I first see it in my mind, then I try as much as possible to be close so that what I'm going to do is going to be close to what I'm seeing in my mind. And funny enough, I apply the same principle in my life personally. I apply the same principle because I'm always intentional about everything I do. The way I dress, my appearance, I see it in my head. Then I try to make what I see in my head happen. The way I talk, I see it in my head, then I try to make it happen. And that is me using my imagination creatively and productively. And what makes God happier than knowing that you are using all that He has given to you to live the life that He wants you to live? So trust your imagination. Don't be afraid. Trust it. Trust it. As you're listening to me right now, I just want you to close your eyes or wherever you can do and imagine. Imagine yourself. Maybe there's something you want to do. Maybe you need to speak at a conference soon, or you've been nursing this idea of writing a song, writing a book, doing something, finishing an exam, writing a certification exam, passing it. I want you to take yourself to that place. Imagine yourself passing that exam. Imagine yourself finishing that book. And in fact, see yourself autographing that book with the book cover. Imagine the book cover, imagine the design, picture it, give it a design, the most beautiful design, give it to it, and see yourself autographing it. See yourself autographing your CD. See yourself, ministering to people with that new song. Personalize it, internalize it, feel the sound. If you're in the studio, feel the sound. If you're ministering to somebody, feel the noise and the speakers, feel the atmosphere. That is imagination. Take yourself there. Take yourself there. Then sooner or later, you're going to say, yeah, this is real. And I must bring it to pass. That is your spirit. That is your spirit trying to create what needs to be birthed, what needs to come out. And that means you are trying to impregnate your mind. You're impregnating your mind with that big idea, with that project. So never say or think you're too old for anything. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Never say that. So never think you're too old for anything. Always set goals bigger than you. No matter what you've done, no matter what you think you've accomplished, there's still more. There is more. There is more. I think last month one of the theme that God gave me for that month is that there is more. There is more. No matter what you've accomplished, or no matter what you think you've done, no matter how far you think you've come, there is more. God wants you to fast. To continue to be hungry, never be satisfied, never be complacent with what you've accomplished. It's not because you are not satisfied, or it's not because you are greedy. No, but it's because you're trusting that what God kept in you is bigger than what you're doing right now. That God demands more. That you need to deliver. That the world is waiting for more. They are not done yet. That you want to empty everything, and so that is going to create an hunger in you. That is going to create a desire to grow, a yearning in you. So never say that you are too old for anything. Oh, I've come a long way. I can't write a song again. All the things I imagine that I'm going to do with my life, I'm not doing. I'm busy with work. I'm trying to ends meet. Yes, we all know. Everyone is all on the move trying to do something. But please don't give in. Don't give in to that excuse. Create time to imagine. Maybe before you sleep at night, imagine, internalize those ideas. Sink it in, feel it, smell it, touch it. So just I always set new goals. I set new goals every time. I stretch myself all the time. You see, if I'm not setting new goals, then I know that something is wrong with me personally. If I'm not setting new goals, if I don't have challenges, I am going to be sick. If I don't have a new challenge that I'm trying to conquer, it is going to weaken me. Because over the years, I have programmed my mind. My mind grows with new challenges. So I can't remain in the same spot. It's just like a water. A water that remains in the same spot for a long time begins to stink, it begins to smell. So as the river moves, that is when it becomes fresh. The ocean flows, it renews its freshness. When you smell it, it is fresh each time because fresh water comes in, it circulates. And that is what happens in our mind. We must continue to grow. We must continue to challenge ourselves, to grow, to aspire new goals, to make use of what God has kept in us. And the way to enter into that realm is to go into the door of imagination. The door of imagination. Like we've said in the beginning, that your imagination is God's gift for you to create. It is God's instrument of creativity. So when you understand that your imagination is the tool, just like what someone said one time I read last year, that probably if the brain is an app, people is going to know how to use it. People are going to know that I need to use my brain. But now that you know that imagination is a tool, is an instrument, probably from now on you're going to start using it intentionally like a tool, and not just be ignorant about it. You're going to use it positively as a tool. Set out time to reflect and imagine the product you want to create. So I love to learn new things, and the things that I've never experienced, maybe challenge myself trying to learn a new instrument or do something. I just want to do something that's going to keep me on my toes, keep me moving. And I almost always achieve each goal that I set out to do. I almost achieve all of them. And do you know what I do together? I use the marvelous gift of imagination. I see myself reaching the goal. I used to tell people, when I start something, I start from the end. I want to see the end goal first, then I start. If I don't see the end, it is going to be very difficult for me to start. And that is the same way I work also. As a programmer, as an IT person, if I'm given a task, I want to understand what is the end goal that you want to achieve in this task that you're giving me. What do you want to see? What are you expecting? If they're expecting a report or something, what do you want to see in this? When they tell me, sometimes they draw it on paper. This is what you want to see, fine. Then I can imagine it in my mind. It is going to guide me when I'm creating it, when I'm building the program, when I'm writing the script. That so if it doesn't look like the product that they're expecting, I know that I've not done my best. I know that I've not done my best. And so please use your imagination. So as adults, we tend to be complacent. We tend to, because of security, we have job security, blah blah blah. Sometimes boredom set in. We come back from work, we're tired, we want to rest, you know, and that is what differentiates us from kids. As kids, we have an active mind. We have an active mind, and we must continue to have the mind of a kid, the mind that nothing is impossible. When you tell a kid something, he's going to almost believe you. Tell him that, yeah, you're gonna fly into the US tomorrow, blah blah. But he's gonna believe you. It's not gonna care where you want to get the money from. It's not gonna care. So we need to begin to act like children in our minds, because kids have the instinct to fight boredom. They can't be bored for too long. Okay. And in that respect, children are great actors. If you've noticed them, they can act. And that is why young children, they like to role play. They act, they role play as parents, they role play as doctors, as they just want to act. They just want to, because their mind is working, their mind is really active. They'll take the most mundane things and make them an adventure, something you can't even imagine. They're making an adventure out of it. They create their own world. They put some life into ordinary things. They make it extraordinary. And that is because at that stage of their lives, their mind is super active, and they're launching into their productivity. So let us take a hint from our children, from those of us who have kids. Take a hint from your kids, take a hint from your younger self. Look back to when you have big dreams. You used to imagine yourself doing things before distractions set in, before all activities set in, and take yourself back to that place and begin to remind yourself that yes, I have some things to do and I must do them. All right. And just like what Albert Einstein said, there's a quote by Albert Einstein that I want to read out to you. It said that imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Did you hear that? Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. So there you have it. There you have it. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And so what is imagination? You might have been asking. We've been talking about imagination. What am I saying? What am I? Imagination is the ability to form a mental image of something that is not perceived through the five senses. Through our five senses of feeling, touching, tasting, hearing, and sound. It has the ability to go beyond the five senses. It is the ability of the mind to build mental scenes. You become a director, okay? Ability of the mind to build mental scenes, objects, and events that do not exist and that are not present at that particular time. And that is imagination. That is imagination. And everyone possesses a certain degree of imagination. Everyone has a certain degree of imaginative ability depending on how well you use it and how constantly you use it and how you are aware that you have this gift. So the imagination manifests in various degrees in various people. In some, it is highly developed, and in others, it manifests in a weaker form. All right, it manifests in a weaker form to some people. Now we're gonna go, just to two points about imagination, and we are going to round up and probably, ask questions and open the ground for people to contribute and ask questions, and also say one or two things about imagination and about winning from within using the power of imagination. So imagination makes it possible to experience a world inside your mind. All right, that is the point that we need to make. Imagination makes it possible to experience a world inside the mind. It gives the ability to look at any situation from a different point of view and to mentally explore the past and the future. What a great power! What a great power. Now, this is a superpower. I'm telling you, this is a superpower that many people are not aware of. The ability to look at any situation from a different point of view and to mentally explore the past and the future. Come on, who does that? Who does that? Is amazing. Imagine you doing that every day. You doing that every time. Just imagine that. So this ability manifests in various forms, one of which is daydreaming. Yeah, all the daydreamers, you can raise up your hand right now. I daydream a lot. I'm telling you, I daydream a lot. I just sit in front of my screen, and before you know it, boom, I'm out of there and I'm somewhere else. Now, intentionally, I'm somewhere else because my mind is actually thinking about something. I might be thinking about signing my book or doing something, writing a book and seeing it. Now I take it step by step. I take it from the step of writing it to publishing it, and I imagine how wide the book wants to go. I imagine how big I want this idea to be, and most times I stay there and I come up. I like this feeling. When I'm out into reality, I say yes, I must do this because it feels good in the when I was imagining it. Now I'm gonna make it happen and make the feeling real. So it manifests in form of daydreaming. Though too much idle daydreaming is not good, it's not healthy. It makes one impractical. It just makes you a daydreamer. You're not doing anything, you just daydream, but you're not working towards it. You're not going to achieve anything. So a certain degree of daydreaming is good for the mind, it's good for your imagination, for you to build and sharpen the gift of imagination. So why not being engaged in when you're not engaged in something, and you're thinking about it every time, it is a waste of resource, it's a waste of mind. So when you think about it every time, make sure you are doing something. Make sure that you're penning down the thoughts, you're making progress, you're making it work. If it's about writing a new song or producing a new song, you're asking people about people who can help you record songs, people who can help you mix songs or compose songs for you, or produce, you are saying it. We are still going to talk about the three V's of vision. You are vocalizing it. Now, when you visualize, you need to vocalize. When you visualize, you begin to vocalize it. When you vocalize it, you tell it to people. I've been thinking about this idea. Can you do this? Then you begin to get ideas. You begin to, it works like, by the way, that is another topic for another day. We're going to move forward. So let us understand that intentional use of the mind to imagine the things we want to see opens the door to a world of impossibility. Now, in your imagination, you can travel anywhere in the speed of light. You know, you can travel anywhere without any obstacles. It can make you feel free, though it is temporary because it's only in your mind. It can make you feel free from difficulties that you're currently in, from unpleasant circumstances. Probably you're going through a financial difficulty, and for some few minutes, you open the window of imagination and you see yourself not struggling financially. You see yourself coming out of that difficulty. You see yourself, living the life you want to live, having things done the way you want it to be done. Though it is temporary, but when you picture your mind and you feel the atmosphere, you know what it feels like to have this feeling. It is good for your mind. Sooner or later, it is going to happen because you are going to walk towards it. Like we said, when you're imagining without doing anything, it's counterproductive. It's a waste of time. And secondly, imagination imagination is not limited to seeing pictures in the mind. It is not just pictures, my there. It is not pictures. Imagination is not just limited to seeing pictures in the mind. It includes all the five senses and the feelings. Just like I said in the beginning, touch, 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 smell, feeling. It's almost as if you are there. If you imagine creating a business, it's just like, for example, a few years ago, before I started the NGO that I co-run with some other people in Nigeria. I imagine, I talked to my co-founder Buddy, and I told him, then we were after work, we were just discussing about the ideas and all the dreams we have, trying to do so many things, build the websites, create banners, and we used to engage in mental activities. And we sat down and I told him, I said, you know what? Just relax for the next 5 minutes. See this idea come to pass. See, imagine yourself walking into our office. Imagine yourself walking into your office, sitting down, okay, whatever you want to do, the screen in your front, what your name on your decks. Just imagine the feeling you want to feel, walking and greeting the people passing by, doing projects, going for interviews and doing so many things, getting funding, getting sponsors. We engaged our mind, and you know what? Sooner or later, everything started happening unconsciously. We got there in the speed of light. We didn't even know what happened. We got there because we did not stop at imagination. We were actually doing something. We were putting it to work. So it doesn't just involve seeing pictures. You must engage your five senses. The sense of smell, the sense, there's a way you can smell something in your mind. Just imagine smelling rose right now. Imagine smelling lavender. Imagine the smell. You can just try it right now. And I know if you are doing it intentionally right now, you will almost imagine it. You can imagine yourself feeling cold. Imagine yourself in the snow. Imagine the wind, and imagine, you yourself shivering in the cold. You can imagine it. Imagine yourself sitting by the beach. Imagine the sun giving you a hot tan, getting the tan. Imagine the waves of the ocean. Feel it, smell it. So one can imagine a sound, you can imagine a taste, you can imagine a smell, you can imagine a physical sensation or a feeling or emotion. You can imagine that. For some people, it is easier to see mental pictures. Others find it easier to imagine a feeling, and some are more comfortable imagining the sensation of one of the two five senses. So training of the imagination gives the ability to combine all the senses. In other words, if you really want to master the power of imagination and truly utilize this instrument of creativity that God has given unto us, you must learn to, merge all the five senses. And if not all the five senses, at least one or two or three, merge them together. Now, a developed and a strong imagination does not make you a daydreamer, or it does not make you impractical. So once you've developed your imagination, come on, you are a super achiever. You become a superman. You become a creative being. Okay. It is called creative visualization. Then it begins to lead to affirmations. Just like I said, when you think about it, when you imagine it, you begin to affirm it. You begin to say it. You begin until you believe it in yourself. You believe it. You believe it. I'm just about to share this story right now. It just came to my mind when I just finished uni year and finished NYC and I was serving, and I have a mental picture about myself. I have the mental picture about myself, though I have not started working, but I invested in suits. I invested in making sure I have dry clean suits and everything. I put everything on and I go to church, and people almost, come in, why are you working? And well, you look nice and everything. And then I wasn't earning much. But because I was feeling in my mind, this is who I am. I can never be small. I can never underdress. Whatever you want to say, I dress too much, I do this. This is what I see in my mind. I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm doing it for me. And gradually, I began to improve. I began to, get jobs. I began to get good pay. I began to get opportunities. And nobody saw the difference. When I had nothing, when I had little, and when I had much, I was almost the same. So it has a way of manifesting itself. So this is a wonderful power that can change your whole life. It is used extensively. The magicians know about this, they use it. So creative visualizations and affirmations, you must say it, you must believe it, you must act it, you must, be in it. All right. So that is it. It is the creator of circumstances and events. That is your imagination. So when you know how to work with it, you can make your art desires come true. So imagination has a great role in our lives. It has a great role in shaping our lives. And I could go on and on about imagination and how to use your imagination. And I'm just gonna round up by this, that if you do not recognize the importance of the power of the imagination and let it run riot in your life, in your mind, your life may not be as happy and successful as you would have wanted it to be if you're not using it well. So lack of understanding of the power of imagination is responsible for suffering, is responsible for unfulfillment, for depression. Exactly. That's the key point. Depression. You know why people are depressed? Because they cannot, for one reason or the other, take themselves out of where they are to where they need to be in their mind. Then they see themselves in darkness. They are locked up there. So if you don't know how to wield this power, you will often be depressed, incompetent. You face difficulties, you face failures, unhappiness. So for some reason, most people are inclined to think in a negative way, especially the people who I choose to call the overthinkers. They do not expect success. They're like, oh, no, let's just continue to do it the way it is. They expect the worst. And when they fail, they believe that fate is against them. They believe that village people are against them. Those are the people who have made village people popular. They believe someone is against them that doesn't want to make them happy. But this attitude can be changed, yeah, and then life will improve accordingly. Now, for some of us who are believers here, who are Christians, okay, if you read your Bible carefully, you are going to understand. You're going to find a way to merge all that we have been saying to scripture, that as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Okay. And the imagination of our heart, God wants us to imagine positive things. He wants us to imagine good things. The things we want to see, we want to make happen are the things. He said, I think in the scripture, Paul says something. He said, well, whatsoever is good of good report, pleasant, nice, sweet, dwell on these things, imagine them, see the picture, feel it, so long as they are good, so long as they're good. And so, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, let us learn to understand the power of imagination and use it correctively. Yeah, it is possible to use it negatively, and it's possible. It's a two-edged sword. If you have an active mind, it's possible that you begin to imagine negative things or begin to imagine the things that are unhealthy. Don't do that. Don't go there. That is where discipline comes into place. You need to discipline yourself to always stay and dwell on the positive things. And I know that when we do this, the genius in us is going to be released, the greatness in us is going to be released with no doubt. So when we put this knowledge into practice, for your own good and for the benefit of others, it's going to lead us and set us on a golden path to success, satisfaction, and happiness. So that is it, guys. Use your imagination. Use your imagination. And so we come to the end of today's webinar. And so short and simple. We hope, and I hope that for the last 40 minutes has not been a waste of your time. And right now we're going to go into the Q&A session. So if you have questions, you can drop them in the comment section. You can drop them in the comment section. And Kizito is saying thank you. Yep. And if you also want to talk, you can just unmute your mic, and we are going to let you talk. So this session is recorded. So for those of you who probably were offline and online, I could see some people going offline and online. You could always listen to it again on YouTube. We're gonna upload it on YouTube and listen to them. So yeah, the floor is open for you guys. And let me just use the next few minutes to say welcome again to everybody that are joining. Adebimpe, Melody, Adebi, Olabisi, Sandra, Kizito, and Oluwatosin. You guys are the real MVP. Thank you guys for joining in. I hope you've been challenged to use your imagination. So waiting for you guys. So just unmute your mic. If you have anything to say, unmute your mic. You can talk or you can write in the comment section. All right, Kizito said, okay, all right. Yeah, Oluwatosin, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I like this topic. I love this topic because it is very, very practical. And
Awesome.
I'm going to start with, I'm not, okay, I don't really have questions. I'm just going to drop contributions. I have a very, very nice saying. I had to open my book now. I wrote it down somewhere. So it's a saying by Albert Einstein. He said,
Right,
imagination is more important than knowledge.
right.
Knowledge is limited, but imagination encircles the world. I
Okay,
mean, there's knowledge is just limited. Fine, you keep learning, you learn every day, but there might be a time you might just stop. Do you get? So
right,
imagination is what it is just more important. It takes you to places that you've never been, and in the end, you find yourself in these places. It is the beginning of creation. Let's put it that way. When you read this Genesis chapter 1, it's just purely imagination. Like that is the beginning of creation. So
awesome.
you have to, for you to be able to create, you have to imagine. If you can't imagine, trust me, you can't you can't create. All this innovation, all these stuffs, people imagined. They've been at that point of imagination before they could come up with a particular innovation or creation of anything. So I'm just going to say that learn to use your imagination to raise your thinking to a higher level, and this is what is going to actually motivate you to take actions. So when you imagine it, sorry, when you imagine, you're going to get to places, high places. That's what I was just going to say. Like, I like the topic. I like to imagine. I love
Lovely,
it.
lovely,
It has
lovely.
taken me to places that's brought me to places that, let me just say, I've been to places I've actually imagined before, and I really, really believe in imagination. I'm a big fan of imagination. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you. That was really profound, Oluwatosin. Thank you for that. Imagination takes you places. Like she said, if you cannot imagine, you cannot create. Awesome. We're all set there. I'm waiting for other people to call in and to unmute their mics. So if you have anything to say, a question, a contribution, write in the comments or mute your mic, and we are all ears.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, awesome thoughts you shared. I must say, uh, I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and
Yes,
clear.
yes, loud and clear.
All right. So I must say it's a timely message. It's a timely information for us to wrap our minds and heads around, because these days we seem to be losing the imaginative touch. So if you just do a sample or a survey of the um, kind of businesses we have around, pardon me, I'm business oriented, so I tend to think in business. You would find out that most people are just cloning ideas and concepts, and that's because a lot more people are not tapping into their imaginative capacity. And so everybody wants to be the next Facebook or the next Instagram or the next WhatsApp. Nobody wants to think of something blue ocean. Nobody wants to think of something out of the box. I think there's that need to re-emphasize how that imagination is is the bedrock of
Creativity.
revolution.
Yeah,
And so I'm glad you're sharing this at this point. Thank you so much. Had an
fantastic,
awesome one.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Kizito.
so much.
Yeah, fantastic. And that was just right profound, rightly profound. And Kizito is a business guy. Shortly after other people bring out their contribution, I'm going to tell you more about him and just spill out a little secret, something that is waiting but is cooking right now. So, but he was able to tell us that and merged business to imagination, and the reason why people are just want to try to copy people is because we are lacking that imaginative flow, that imaginative zeal nowadays, and which is very correct. Which is very correct. Yeah, thank you very much, Kizito. And still wait more contributions from people. Hello, Olabisi. Olabisi said hello, and yeah, glad to have you here. And I presume you came late, but if you didn't come late, awesome. But whatever, you can always also listen to the recordings. So we're waiting for contributions from more people. We still have 5 minutes to talk and discuss and rub minds.
Hello, hello.
Hello, David. That's
Hey, man. Hello, Olaniyi.
yeah.
I remember I was working on imagination, and the exercise that I did was just trying to imagine something in my mind and just trying to draw it on the paper. And the picture that I had in my mind was really clear, but whatever came out on the paper was, no, so to say, terrible. So I guess when we first start using our imagination, what we imagine does not, no, it doesn't come out so well in the real life. So not everything that we imagine will look great in real life at first, but as we get better by making our images real, the images will become more, so to say, clear, more detailed in our real life. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, David. And I think what David is trying to pass along is that imagination is not just one off. It doesn't just happen. You don't get it right the first time. That like what he said, he was trying to do an exercise and imagine something, and he penned it down or try to picture it down, but it wasn't perfect. Okay, so but you need to fine tune it. You need to go through. It's just like invention. You need to reiterate. You need to reiterate until you get the perfect picture. So it's not a one-off process. It's not a one-shot or one-touch wonder. It is something. It's a skill you need to master. And okay, I think there are some comments here. And yeah, and Debbie Akinkule is asking a question. Yeah, and Debbie Akinkule just got back from Greece today. Welcome back. And she's still with us, and she's going to be with us and next week to continue the series she started and still take us on more in-depth thoughts about winning from within. And she's smiling, yeah. Yeah, no, many people were so excited last week. And I shared the testimonies with her, and she was also excited and really, really happy. And Olabisi is saying here that I believe we don't just understand the power of our imagination, which is true. And she said that even God recognizes our imaginations in Ephesians 3:10, which says that now to him who is able to do immeasurable more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work in us. So even God recognizes our imagination, like we said, it's a gift from God. And yeah, and Debbie Akinpole is asking this question: how do you influence others to buy into your imagination? They can be the biggest dream killers. I love this. I love this. How do you influence others to buy into your imagination? They can be the biggest dream killers. Yeah, I'm going to throw this open just for the next we have 2 3 minutes left. So I know we have some people who are dreamers and have executed their dreams. Kizito has a lot of experience that I'm sure of, and some other people on the platform also have experience. Dibimpe, Melody, Labisi, Davidas, and Oluwatosin. So just look at that question, and I want someone to be able to try to dissect it from the little experience that they've gotten. And yeah, Kizito is saying something. I love the fact that you're interacting through the chat. He said, share your dreams in faces. He said, share your dreams in faces. How do you influence people to buy into your imagination? He said, share your dreams in faces. And that is just so apt, so apt. And Debbie is giving you thumbs up right there. So that's key. And so one of the things that has helped me, I think this is going to be another topic for another day. I know I mentioned it earlier about the 3 V's of vision. When you visualize, when you vocalize, then the last stage, which is verification, that you need to verify. That is when you start doing something about it. So your vocalizing stage, you don't tell them the whole picture. You tell little by little. You might even do it in form of asking a question. For example, given the instance of someone who wants to record a song, okay, who has imagined a new song. You don't just tell people, I want to record a song. I have this. No, you can ask a question. Do you know any music producer? Or you ask a question. Do you know who is good in producing songs? Okay, do you know who can help you? Who can write songs, edit songs? You ask the right questions. Okay, asking the right questions. All right, Ademope said she already dropped the contribution, so I am going to do that. I don't. I'm not going to forgive myself if I don't read your contribution, and so I'm going to try to read your contribution right now. Still looking for it. If you can try to copy and paste again. I'm still trying to look for a contribution. Ademope. I already dropped the contribution with you. Check your chat, please. I can't see it here. If anybody can see it, please, would you please read it out? The contribution from Adebimpe. If anybody has seen it, you can read it out. If not, Adebimpe, please, would you please write it out again because it's not here. This is a general chat. All right. So finally, we're just going to welcome any final contribution, questions from people. You can use the chat. You can unmute your mic and talk while we round up. Probably is going to be the last one. Okay, Ademipe is writing it again. A really long one. Thanks for your time tonight, Olaniyi. I think there is need to emphasize that as much as your imagination is a great key to move on forward in life, realism should be placed side by side so as to achieve one's aim appropriately. Because a good number of people around are dreamers who don't wait consequences but only dabble into projects or plan. Copying others to achieve a dream isn't same with using one's gift of imagination. I don't know if you really got what I'm trying to explain. Thanks once again, Olani. Yes, yes. Just like what Kizito said, that something that is lacking in our generation is the creative zeal, the creative gesture. The ability to create a new product, a new invention that has never existed. People want to copy others. People want to be like others, or people just want to take one idea, improve it, and change the name, change the pack, and sell it, and just compete. So you're right on point. And also talking about realism, that is when you need to verify your imagination. For example, you have an idea, you visualized it, you vocalized it, you get feedbacks from people, then you begin to verify, you begin to try it out, you begin to put it to work and practice it. So like when we started about visions, about creating plans, about using your mind, when you're creating your plan, when you want to set out to creating and launching out, giving birth to what you've thought about, you need to be able to measure the growth, to measure the progress and plan it. They must be achievable. You can't just do something that is impossible, that defies all the laws of life, the laws of gravity or the laws of whatever that happen. Okay, you must also understand physical laws that that works in reality out of your imaginative mind. And yeah, so that's it. Yeah, I don't know if that was able to answer your question, but yeah, it was really nice contribution. And Sandra Osafo, hello, sweet auntie. I'm waiting for your music. Waiting for your music. Yeah, I was talking about you when I was referring to someone who has a music and concerts. So she said, know who to share your imagination with. Joseph shared his imagination with the wrong people, who, if not for the grace of God, he will not have been where he got to. Really apt, really apt. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Sandra Safo. And that is very important. That is why if you are in God and you have God's spirit within you, you don't just share with anybody. Hey, I don't think I can. I want to do that mistake. The people I select to share things, anybody I share anything with, have been directed. I have a strong directive that this is the person you need to share this with. Pray about it. Okay, pray about it. Ask God, who do I need to tell? Who is going to help me? And you pray that God send helpers to me who are going to make these ideas come to life. And when you see them, help me. When I see them, help me to recognize them and that this is this. Just pray. So you don't be a talkative and just talk about all your plans. If I talk about all the things I think about, some people some people think I'm mad. Basically, I'm not sure I'll have any friends again. All right, so you know when to keep quiet and you know who to share your dreams with and all your visions with. So guys, it's really been amazing tonight. It's been an amazing one, and I'm so glad you guys made it more amazing and more fun. So glad you guys are here. Adebimpe, Melody, Olabisi, Debbie, Sandra Osafo, Kizito, Oluwatose. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from Debbie again next week. But before we round up, I just want to give us this teaser. Like I said, I'm going to share a teaser with you, and for just a teaser for the month of August. Yeah, for those of you who are still going to be with us, you don't want to miss this. So if you are seeing your screen now, you're gonna. I don't know if you're seeing something on my screen. I'm trying to share my screen. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. So we're launching a financial growth series next month, August. So this is a teaser. You don't want to miss this for anything. Please, if you if you have been missing anything in your life, don't miss this. It's talking about financial growth, and we have one of the most humblest guy I've seen, Kizito. You saw his contribution earlier. We talked earlier on. He's a young guy, very very young man, doing great things out of state. So looking forward also to next month. We want to start saying it right now. We're going to share the banner in the WhatsApp group. Share it, tell people, let people know that something is going on here. A group of people are trying to change the world, building their capacity every day, and they're never going to regret it. So that is it for that. And I'm looking forward to having Debbie Akikunle back next week with fresh ideas from Greece and fresh inspiration. I know she's going to renew and refresh and seen another world that she has never been to before. So be ready for an explosion next week, guys. So lovely evening, guys, and see you next week. Have a wonderful week ahead. Cheers.